We need to document all the possible scenarios before testing. They are formally called test cases or TCS short. A test case has a set of steps designed to verify the correct behavior of your application. Each test case outlines the inputs, actions, and expected outcomes for a particular scenario. This allows the testers to systematically evaluate the functionality of the application. Test cases are prepared by test engineers and usually reviewed by BAs. The agile tool Jira lets you create the test cases, but it supports the basic test case management only. If you want advanced features, there are some third-party plugins available for Jira. X-Ray and Zephyr are two such popular plugins available in the market. While testing, the tester reads the test cases, perform the actions on the application, and verify the outcome as per the test case. If the application behaves as per the expected outcome of test case, the test is considered passed, else it is failed. The test cases can be executed by somebody else other than the one who prepared it. So when you prepare the test cases, you should always make sure that anyone should be able to understand it and perform the actions accordingly. Test cases should be prepared in a standard industry format. You need to specify a set of details for test cases. Each test case should have a unique identifier. It could be a number, some letters, or a combination of both. For example, ABC 100. Test case description outlines the purpose or objective of test scenario. Each test case has a sequence of steps to be performed as part of the test scenario. Each step should be clear, concise, and executable, detailing what actions the tester should take. For each test step, we got to write the expected result if applicable. It explains the expected behavior of the software after executing the test steps. Status and actual results are left blank while preparing the test cases and are filled at the time of test execution. The status of the test case indicates whether it's passed or failed. If the test is failed, you need to document your observation as actual result. If the test is passed, you can leave the actual result field blank. Now let's see a sample test case. The test case ID here is login001. When you create a test case in tools like Jira, a unique ID will be created automatically. The description shows the purpose. Verify that users can log in with valid credentials. Now check the test steps in tabular format. Here you write each step that user performs. The first step is open the login page of the application. Corresponding to this step, in expected results, you could say login page is displayed, but it's quite obvious, so you may leave it blank. Now, in the second step, enter valid username and password in the respective fields. Here also no need to specify the expected result because nothing happens as part of this step. Now, the third step, click the login button. Here you have something in the expected results. The expectation is users should be logged in successfully. We'll fill the status and actual result at the time of test case execution. Now you know the format of test cases. Whatever tool that you use, the major components of the test cases are same. It's highly important to understand how to write good test cases because this is the most important skill a test engineer must have. In interviews, you may be asked to design test cases for an application. Tell me the possible test cases for a login page, for example. Before digging into the test cases, visualize the application and think what are the possible scenarios that a user is likely to perform. We know that there would be a username and password field and a login button, login or sign in button on a login page. What is the function of the login page? Allow only legitimate users to use the application, right? Illegal users should be denied the access. So we need to have tests for both the cases. Whenever you write test cases, consider the positive case or happy path first. What is the happy path here? A legitimate user is trying to sign in. In an interview, you're going to have to say the possible test cases. So just say the steps and expected results only. Let's start with the first test case. Enter a valid username and password and click the sign in button. So what should be the expected result here? The user should be logged into the application. Now say the negative test case as well. Enter a valid username, invalid password and click the sign in button. Application access should be denied to the user. You can make one more invalid test case like enter invalid username and password and click the sign in button. Here also the user should be blocked. The login scenario that we discussed is a particular feature of an application. Now consider an application as a whole. For example, an ATM machine. Can you tell me the test cases for testing an ATM machine? Here is where many people fail in interviews. Think of end-to-end scenarios when you write test cases for an application as a whole. End-to-end or E2E test scenario evaluates the entire flow of a software application from start to finish. It should simulate the real-world user scenarios. When you design the test cases for ATM, you should think why a user should go to ATM. Think each user requirement for visiting an ATM and make each of them as test cases. So, what are the possible cases? You may visit an ATM for cash withdrawal or depositing cash or check, or maybe for checking the balance, or it could be for changing the PIN. Now, make test cases for each one of them. Do not consider user authentication as a scenario here because as a user, you don't go to ATM just for user authentication, right? Whenever you write test cases, assume that you're the user of the application and think what all realistic scenarios you are likely to perform. Now let's discuss the test cases one by one. Consider the cash withdrawal scenario. What are the steps here? Insert the debit card, enter PIN, a valid PIN, and click submit button. What should be the expected result? Menu options will be shown to the user. Select cash withdrawal from menu. Screen will show the field to enter amount of withdrawal. Enter the amount and click OK. The accurate amount of money will be dispersed from the machine. Now select exit from the menu. The user session will log out and debit card will be ejected from the machine. Likewise, make test cases for each scenario like cash deposit, check deposit, balance check and PIN change. A classic mistake with some interview candidates is that they will start explaining test cases for user authentication by entering correct and incorrect PINs. Those will be definitely tested, but you must focus on end-to-end scenarios. Once you cover all happy path cases, you can mention about the negative test cases too, like attempting to withdraw cash with an invalid PIN. Now, here is an assignment for you. Write the test cases for testing an online banking application. Usually, you need to go through requirements or user stories for preparing the test cases. But in an interview perspective, you can assume the features of the application and make test cases. The interviewer is mainly evaluating your approach.